Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihara Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihara Gopijana Balava Girivaradhari Gopijana Balava Girivaradhari Gopijana Balava Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivaradhari Gopijana Balava Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihara Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihara Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we first offer our obeisances to Narayan, the personality of Godhead, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Okay, what verse are we on?
313.
Huh?
7, 313.
7?
313.
Okay. 7, 3? 13. Okay. This English numbers are very difficult, right? Except for native speakers, I've never heard anybody ever get 13 and 30 straight. It's, other languages not like that, right? It's, how do you say 13 in German?
13.
Huh?
13.
Yeah, and how do you say 30?
30.
Yeah, it's easy to know the difference, right? Most languages you say 310 or 10-3, and it's really easy. So I heard 30. Okay, Tavasanam, Dvijagavam, Parameshcham, Jagatpate, Bhavaya, Shreyase, Bhuchai, Chemaya, Vijayaya, Cha, Tavasanam Dvijagavam, Parameshcham Jagatpate, Bhavaya Shreyase Bhuchai, Chemaya Vijayaya Cha. Okay, anyone else?
Tavasanam Dvijagavam.
Tavasanam Dvijagavam.
Parameshyam Jagatpate.
Parameshyam Jagatpate.
Vaya Shreyasi Pujye.
Vaya Shreyase Bhujai.
Hemaya Vijayaya Cha.
Shemaya Vijayaya Cha. Tavasanam Dvijagavam. Tavasanam Dvijagavam. Parameshyam Jagatpate. Parameshyam Jagatpate.
Asunam Dvijagavam Parameshcham Jagatpate Pavaya Shreyase Bhuchai Chemaya Vijayaya Cha. Ladies, Tavasanam Dvijagavam Parameshcham Jagatpate Bhavaya Sheyase Bhuchai Chemaya Vijayaya Cha. Tava, your asanam, position on the throne, Dvija, of the Brahminical culture or the Brahmanas. Gavam, of the cows. Parameshcham, supreme. Jagatpate, O master of the whole universe. Bhavaya, for improvement. Shreyase, for the ultimate happiness. Bhuchai, for increasing the opulence. Chemaya, for the maintenance and good fortune. Vijayaya, for the victory and increasing prestige. Cha, and. Translation. O Lord Brahma, your position within this universe is certainly most auspicious for everyone, especially the cows and brahmanas. Brahminical culture and the protection of cows can be increasingly glorified, and thus all kinds of material happiness, opulence, and good fortune will automatically increase. But unfortunately, if Hiranyakashipu occupies your seat, everything will be lost. Let's repeat that one. O Lord Brahma, your position within this universe is certainly most auspicious for everyone. Brahminical culture, especially the cows and the brahmanas. Brahminical culture and the protection of cows can be increasingly glorified. And thus all kinds of material happiness, opulence, and good fortune will automatically increase.
And thus all kinds of material happiness, opulence, and good fortune will automatically increase.
But unfortunately, if Hiranyakashipu occupies your seat, everything will be lost. Purport by His Divine Grace, A. Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In this verse, the word Dvijagavam, Parameshcham, indicate the most exalted position of the Brahmanas, Brahminical culture, and the cows. In Vedic culture, the welfare of the cows and the welfare of the Brahmins are essential. Without the proper arrangement for developing Brahminical culture and protecting cows, all the affairs of administration will go to hell. Being afraid of Hiranyakashipu would occupy the post of Brahma, all the demigods were extremely disturbed. Hiranyakashipu was a well-known demon, and the demigods knew that if demons and rakshasas were to occupy the supreme post, Brahminical culture and protection of cows would come to an end. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, the original proprietor of everything is Lord Krishna. Bhoktaram Jagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The Lord, therefore, knows particularly well how to develop the material condition of the living entities within this material world. In every universe, there is one Brahma engaged on behalf of Lord Krishna, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye. The principal creator in each Brahmanda is Lord Brahma, who imparts Vedic knowledge to his disciples and sons. On every planet, the king or supreme controller must be a representative of Brahma. Therefore, if a Rakshasa or a demon is situated in Brahma's post, then the entire arrangement of the universe, especially the protection of the Brahminical culture and cows, would be ruined. All the demigods anticipated this danger, and therefore they went to request Lord Brahma to take immediate steps to thwart Hiranyakashipu's plan. In the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma was attacked by two demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, but Krishna saved him. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as Madhu Kaitaba Hantri. Now again, Hiranyakashipu was trying to replace Brahma. The material world is so situated that even the position of Lord Brahma, not to speak of ordinary living entities, is sometimes in danger. Nonetheless, until the time of Hiranyakashipu, no one had tried to replace Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu, however, was such a great demon that he maintained his ambition. The word bhutyai means for increasing opulence, and the word shreyase refers to ultimately returning home back to Godhead. In spiritual advancement, one's material position improves at the same time that the path of liberation becomes clear and one is freed from material bondage. If one is situated in an opulent position in spiritual advancement, his opulences never decreases. Therefore, such a spiritual benediction is called bhuti or vibhuti. Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita, vibhuti. There was one so-called incarnation, and his followers would come with the vibhuti from his picture, so-called ashes would come, and they called that vibhuti, ashes. You have plenty of ashes underneath the incense, or anywhere you go, there's ashes, If there's a fire, then the result is ashes. Cremation is ashes. They called it vibhuti. Krishna confirms this. Yad yat vibhutimat sattvam mama tejamsa sambhavan. 1041. If a devotee advances in spiritual consciousness and thus becomes materially opulent also, that is a special gift from the Lord. Such opulence is never to be considered material. At the present, especially on this planet, the influence of Lord Brahma has decreased considerably, and the representatives of Hiranyakashipu, the Rakshasas, and the demons have taken charge. Therefore, there is no protection of Brahminical culture and cows, which are the basic prerequisites for all kinds of good fortune. This age is very dangerous because society has been managed by demons and Rakshasas. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ananjana Shalakaya Chaksuramilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desa Tarane Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaha namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namani gora tushe namaha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika, Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostite, Tapta Kanchana, Gaurange, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu, Sute, Devi, Pranamami, Hari, Priye. Krishna, Tvadiya, Padapanka, Japanjarantam, Ajaiva me, Visatu, Manasaraja Hansan, Prana, Pranama Samayek, Kapavata Pittai, Kantabaro, Danavido, Smaranam, Gutaste. All right. It's very interesting how Prabhupada says Brahminical culture and cow protection. Many, 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 many times. Lord Chaitanya also, when he was approaching Haridas Thakur and he was worried, he said, there's no interest in Brahminical culture and cow protection in Kali Yuga and what can be done about it. So we get people talking about Varnashram and they don't, at least the people I've heard talking about it in the so-called Brahminical culture, they don't talk about cow protection in the same breath. But that's seems to be like the main thing that Prabhupada stresses. He also, I looked it up once, at least half the time when he says cows and bulls, or bulls and cows, because you can say, well, bulls include cows, but if you say men and women, if you just say men, it doesn't include women. If you just say women, it doesn't include men, right? If you say humans, but so the bulls, without bulls, you're not going to have cows for very long. But it's like some places in India, they got so carried away with the female abortions, then all the men in the village, they had no women to marry when they grew up. Happened many places, and then they have to import women from other cultures, but it doesn't work very good. So maybe they realize by now, but so this is something to think about. Prabhupada said you can, promote cow protection just by cooking very nice things with milk and ghee and everything. But now the vegan is trying to wipe that out, and ghee is too expensive. And in Japan, when I was first there, and I was the absolute authority, because I made all the devotees, and they were young and they hadn't become rebellious yet, and we all used only ghee. Then I was gone for some time, and I came back, and they were using oil, and I said, "Why are you using oil?" "Oh, Mr. Gupta said oil's much better." Because the Indian want to donate, so oil is much better. It's $13 a gallon or something, and ghee is in America very expensive. So $13 for half pint or 1 pint or something, So, but you're not supposed to use so much. You're not supposed to deep fry everything. It's supposed to be just a little bit added on, but they think Krishna likes fried food, so then you have to have a lot of oil. And now all the people are saying how oil is so toxic. Prabhupada always said that. He said oil is for the outside, and ghee is for inside. I had a god sister in America, and her father was a nutritional scientist with the government. and they had him experiment with oils. And his conclusion was that the only oil that is digestible by human beings is ghee. I don't think that was ever published, but she knew because the father told her, right? Because when the big money and you can grow soybeans so easy, and then they can sell the chunks, which were never for human beings ever. That was an oil cake, it's called. That was for the animals, but they had so much of it, then they say, well, you got to have this protein, and it's crazy. So this is Hiranyakasipu Prabhupada. One place he said that when he said how Hiranyakasipu had sent his men, to Earth, somehow he had a big grudge against Earth, and to kill the cows and the brahmanas, to burn the forest and the agricultural fields, exactly what the demons are doing now. And Prabhupada said these people that are promoting this anti-milk, they are the agents of Hiranyakasipu. But now they do it in the name of, protecting cows, because the cows are, the dairy farms are very commercial. They don't treat them very nicely, and then they end up, when they don't give enough milk, they do away with them, because the demand is for too much ice cream and things like that, and you need too much milk for all that. If everybody took just the amount of milk they need, then there would be no problem. But this is Kali Yuga. So we can, simply by the Harinam Sankirtan, Harinama, Harinama, Eva Kevalam, the only way. And Lord Chaitanya, or Lord Brahma, concluded after studying the Vedas that Iti Soda Sukam Nam Nam Kali Kalma Shanapanam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That in this Kali Yuga, the best means to push back the influence of Kali Yuga is the 16 words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's very much necessary. All the, and of course, anomalies of Kali Yuga that are going on with the cow slaughter and wars and pestilence, natural disasters. And Prabhupada puts those things in, one group. War is also just a natural disaster. It's not like you can blame any people particularly. If it's an earthquake, now they try to say that somebody has an earthquake weapon or something, which may be true, because Krishna had such things. But, and then they pray, God, please help us. But when there's a war, you want to blame the Muslims or blame the Jews or blame somebody. But it's a natural disaster. It's a result of all the sinful activities. And it's just another way. Everybody's going to die anyway. I told this, but I read once about some small country somewhere, one of these remote countries in Eastern Europe or something. They'd had a war for 10 years. Finally, the war ended. Everybody was happy. Then they had an earthquake for like 10 or 20 seconds, and more people were killed than the 10 years war. So Krishna has, it's going to happen. It's not that Krishna's, playing a game and pushing the buttons. Like, they have all these I don't know, they have them anywhere else, but in Japan there's game centers, and so many men are sitting in there with this, different kinds of fights. Sometimes they're directing armies or bombers or assassinations, and you know, but this is, and then some people are big time, and they can actually make wars, real wars where people get killed. And they don't see it any differently than the person killing so many people in the game. Some of the games have actors, but if you shoot them, their head gets blown off or something, and it looks exactly real. And little kids are in there, everybody's doing that. So no wonder this is Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada here is very, very strong. I didn't count, but there's where he's cows and Brahman, the welfare of the cows and the Brahmanas. So there's a little bit for so-called Brahmanas. The churches don't get taxed in most countries and stuff, right? But it's going down, and they don't really protect because they don't know what a Brahmana is. So anyone can call himself a priest and start his own religion. It has all irreligious principles. But the Brahminical cows, Brahminical culture, and that's what Lord Chaitanya asked Haridas Thakur. And then Haridas simply glorified the Sankirtan of the holy name and told Lord Chaitanya not to worry because he'd already started this, and spreading the holy name all over the world is changing things. We can see there's, like there are much more vegetarian. Many things have changed since the Sankirtan movement is taking, and most people won't see the direct influence, but it's something. Prabhupada told Ramaswar was very concerned because Prabhupada was always saying it will take over the world. And that used to be a devotee said it all the time. It was just a common thing, we're going to take over the world, get out on Sankirtan, distribute the books, right? Then gradually, I don't know, more people joined, coming from different backgrounds in the rebellious youth of the 70s, and said, we can't be weird, we can't be so crazy, we have to be more normal. Let's not disturb the people, let them enjoy, and become a bona fide religion. But we need both. But so he said, how are you going to take over the world? He has this in his diary. He was traveling with Prabhupada, and that was in 77, in January or something. And he said, would it be like a revolution? He mentioned like the French and the Russian Revolution. Prabhupada said no. He said, would it be some war? No. Would it be like election or something? No. He said, it would just be that by the continuous spread of the Sankirtan, book distribution, spreading the holy name, prasadam, that the atmosphere of the planet will get purified, consciousness will get uplifted, and the people will demand, good leadership. It won't happen, what could happen overnight if, sometimes I was thinking if every devotee that ever took initiation vows was still chanting their 16 rounds every day and following the principles, think about that, right? Because it's so powerful that there's people doing that heavy tapasya. But not everyone, unfortunately, could survive. Kali Yuga could, devour us. So how do we survive is by sadhu sangha. Stay together. I just heard Bhaktivedanta Maharaj saying, he was describing sadhu sangha. And he said, it's not some small thing, that we just had prasadam and, we had a program and we all chanted for a few minutes and we had prasadam and talked about the news, that he said, real sadhu sangha is when you accept someone as a guru, as a teacher, and you're associating for the purpose of learning. This, he said, that's what Bhaktivinoda explained. So this is what we need, sadhu. That's when it says sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi. Lava matra sadhu sangha, even a moment. If we're really, in real sadhu sangha, that we're really respecting the devotees and wanting to hear from them and wanting to be with them and join the kirtans or whatever, then this is how we can really make advancement. Any kind of association is good, and Prabhupada, he writing his books is enough tapasya, right? Because Prabhupada, translating is one thing, that's also difficult. But Prabhupada was not just translating. He was studying the commentaries of many acharyas and then writing so that we could understand it, which is really miraculous. And devotees that were with him said sometimes, he was working for many hours every night. Sometimes for one sentence, the whole night was just to get one sentence, clear, to get all the realizations, all the understanding of the Goswamis and previous acharyas into the language of the Malechas, English. I think Prabhupada said, I can't remember, German and English is one's for horses and one's for dogs. Spanish and French is for romance, but they can be, they can express the Sanskrit when it's presented by Prabhupada equally as powerful. So Prabhupada very kindly, but then not only that, but then he formed a society and gave, all the foundational instructions. That's why he's called the founder Acharya, how the society should function. And he taught us, the morning program and the japa and the sankirtan and distributing books and prasadam, all those things he demonstrated by his own life, and he organized it so that people could have sadhu sangha, so they can have a chance to serve Krishna and hear about Krishna. Now, Kali Yuga has very kindly given us the World Wide Web and Zoom and YouTube. So this is very big facility. We go out, we should still go out live and actually meet, but at the same, we can attract so many people, In some countries like China, right, almost all the devotees come from internet, because they can't go out. They go person, but they can't go publicly, but they can still use the internet and make devotees and distribute books. And it's happening everywhere. So many people contact, I think it's maybe the Back to Godhead, they have that live chat or something, and they have people from countries you've never heard of, that somehow or other got connected by internet, and they're associating with devotees. They're getting the books online. Of course, now it happened yesterday. I was trying to distribute books, and then I realized how fallen I am. But, one girl, she said, "Can I read it online?" That's a clever excuse now, I'll read it online. I can't promise, but not very likely, but maybe sometimes. But people find them online. By so many devotee, online things. So we want to do that. But protecting cows, and we can talk about it, but it's very hard to do. Krishna Chaitanya Swami, he wrote a book about it, and I heard him talking. He said, like in America, it's really difficult. You have to have so many kind of licenses and permits and everything. And the land is so expensive, the feeding them is so expensive, And if you have to hire someone, then they want like, $100 a day or something. In India, they can afford to, get a lot of land, but it's getting harder and harder. In Vrindavan, no cows allowed on the street. They'll pick them up, take them away. So that, if you have cows, you have to make sure they can't get out. And, people complain. They don't like the cow dung, and they don't like, even in Vrindavan, and what to speak of other places. But still, there is, the chance to distribute puris in ghee and samosas cooked in ghee and stuff. It is much different. Halava, sometimes devotees for a festival, they make halava with oil. Even in the Polish festival, that when they did that Woodstock, they made, halava with oil. Obviously, everything's donated. And many, many plates were left with the halava. They didn't eat it. They ate the soybean chunks, but they didn't eat the halava because it's cooked in oil. But if it's cooked in ghee, when I was first in the movement, that was the thing everybody wanted was halava. How do you cook this? I remember one guy asked us at Sunday, and he got the recipe for the halava. And then he came back the next week. He said, I cooked it, but it didn't taste the same. And what do you guys do? Why does it taste so much better? And then we told him, you offer to Krishna. And I think he tried it, because he wanted that special taste. So Hiranyakashipu, he did end up, I guess it was it post to Brahma. I mean, he controlled the entire universe without the demigods. He did everything himself by his power, all the work of all the demigods for a long time. He was so powerful by his tapasya. So Lord Nrsingadev told Brahma, don't give these demons the benedictions anymore. But he's obliged. They're all his progeny. So anyone who does the yagya or the tapasya, they get the result. So the demons, again and again can become very powerful. So now they're basically ruling the world and just licensing more and more demoniac things. And, making so much propaganda against cows and bulls. These people that want to condemn dairy products, but they have no alternative what to do with the cows and bulls. The bulls, they say that even using the bull to plow the field is cruel, and you shouldn't do that. But the bulls like to do that. the bulls. Where I was staying in Vrindavan, the school had this bullock school bus, so that behind the building I could see that the bulls lived there. And if you look at the time when the buses were supposed to go, they all ran to the gate, Nobody had to tell them. They were waiting. But now they won't allow the Bullock school bus anymore because it blocks traffic. So now it's a parking lot. The bulls have gone back to the care for cows or something. But they were taking such good care of them and brushing them every day and cleaning, and they were really happy to do that. That's their dharma. And the cows are very happy to give milk. It's not just for their calf. The calf doesn't care for milk after a few months. And we had a cow in Indonesia. This is how the demoniac people work. I came and they just had a calf. And they weren't letting the calf take any milk from the cow. And I said, why? They said, well, Bhakta, somebody is studying in the university, and they told him that the calf is too rough, and it's not good for the cow. And I said, that's ridiculous. They said, well, they're both crying all the time. I said, yeah, of course. Put them together. So they put them together, and then they said, oh, they're so happy now. So that calf, she grew to be bigger than her mother. And and she stopped taking milk after, not very long. And I told the devotees, just, take care of that cow and treat her really nice. And they milked her for 12 or 13 years. And even at the end, she was still giving 3 liters every day. It's one of those big American ones, the black and white ones. And some devotees had a cow they rescued from the slaughterhouse, and she was a dairy cow, but when the milk production went down, they sold her. And they took really good care, loving care for a few years, and then she started giving milk, but she didn't have a calf. Because they're mothers, and they want to feed, so it's actually meant for humans, the perfect food for humans. But they're saying it's, poison, propaganda. In the name of protecting cows, they're saying the milk is poison, and it's very hellish. So the demigods are begging Lord Brahma. I don't know exactly, I haven't read the previous verses, but, Hiranyakasipu he becomes so powerful. And even when this is an interesting, but when the demigods went to Vishnu to complain, because he was, really horrible, he said, I know all about it, and you be patient, I'll take care of it when the time comes. I know I tell devotees that all the time when they have problems, but when I have problems, I can't apply that very well. We want Krishna, help me now, but we should be praying to Krishna to help others, because there's nothing more for us to gain except to become more serious about chanting the holy names and, really depending on Krishna. I had a lot of realization. I tried to distribute books. I went out yesterday, and actually I didn't know if I'd be able to even walk the whole time. I felt so tired, which is often the case before I go on Harinam. But as soon as you hear the kirtan, something happens, and you see all these people hearing it. But so Leela, she offered me some books, and I said, okay. And of course, everyone I approached didn't speak English, or, they didn't have money. Usually there's something, one after another. And I was thinking, I can't do this. And I realized, we have to depend on Krishna. So even if I'm thinking, well, I'm very good, I can do this, then it won't work. And if we're thinking I'm no good and I'm stupid and I can't do it, we're also depending on our own weakness and our own laziness. We're not begging Krishna to help these people. So whatever we do, whether it's just chanting or giving sweet balls, it's for Krishna's pleasure. Krishna is very happy to see when the ladies pull all these people in and they just start dancing. We saw in Hanover there was 3 girls and they were a little bit far away, but one of them just jumped up and ran over and started dancing. And then the other 2 they said, well, and then they came also. I mean, they didn't even ask them. They were far away, but people are just naturally attracted. So we want to do that. It's for Krishna's pleasure. We're trying to do everything for Krishna's pleasure. Cooking for Krishna, and dressing Krishna, and flowers for Krishna. Everything is for Krishna. So he's the supreme proprietor. Everything belongs to Krishna. And some interesting things here. Of course, there's a Brahma in every universe. Our universe is very small, only 4 heads. But still, it's inconceivable for us. But now the Brahma is still there, and the Sankirtan movement is happening. And he told the demigods that the best birth in the universe is a human being on earth. Normally we'd think, well, it'd be much better to be a demigod and never get sick and be unlimitedly beautiful and have no rules and regulations about sense gratification, But that's too much sense gratification. And we won't think of, doing some tapasya for spiritual advancement. It's like rich people that live in very nice parts of the world think, we don't need. Some devotees were on the train in India and they met some Japanese kids. And the Japanese told them, we don't have to pray like, our country, we have everything. We're not poor like you, and we don't need to pray. We don't need God. We have all the sense gratification already. But this is foolishness. So Brahminical culture is mentioned many times, means cow protection. So that's what we have to think about that and how we can do that and support those who do protect cows. And protecting cows means engaging the bulls also in work. Of course, if they're just grazing, that's also service because even demons, no, not demons, but scientists, some of them have concluded that the land in America anyway, the topsoil is practically gone and the land is not very fertile. And so they pump all these chemicals, but if they just let the bulls and cows graze by the stool and urine, it will revive the soil and make everything really good. So they can be valuable even if they're not pulling the plow. Because even in Mayapur, the laborers they hired, they want to drive a tractor. And one guy driving a tractor, you need 10 men with the bulls to do the same amount of field work. So Kali has arranged all these things to make it very difficult. But we have to try. And our main thing is if we keep spreading the holy name, we keep spreading the books. Now somehow book distribution is increasing everywhere. Devotees are selling full sets of Bhagavatam, full sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita all over the place, not just at the temple. Very amazing, inconceivable, but it's happening. So Krishna, he kills the demons, but this day and age he's not coming and, with the weapons and killing demons like that, but he's coming yagya sankirtana prayar yajanti sumedasa, that the yagya is at sankirtan, and those who have a good brain, they'll join the sankirtan. At least they'll support it, they'll appreciate it. And we see that that's happening more and more. So we're very happy to see so much. Germany's getting a lot of benediction now. And the government's very kind. So like in Hanover area, they have that Bad Oeynhausen, 100 and some devotees there from Ukraine. Government supports them, and they do Harinam all the time. And they always have prasadam and dancing and books, so that it's happening all over the place, these parties. And this can help to promote the Brahminical culture, because that will uplift the consciousness of the people, so that they don't want to, they have some respect for Brahmanas. They want to hear something about Krishna or something about spiritual life. And just one thing very interesting here, in this one sentence, I'll read it again and finish. In spiritual advancement, one's material position improves at the same time that the path of liberation becomes clear and one is freed from material bondage. If one is situated in opulent position in spiritual advancement, his opulence never decreases. It's called vibhuti. So sometimes, a devotee may be a little opulent materially, but that could be Krishna's benediction for him because of his spiritual opulence. Shouldn't be condemned. Like this Pundarik Vijayanidhi, he was a very, very rich man and a great devotee. And so Mukunda, who knew him, he asked Gadadhar Das, Gadadhar Pandit, would you like to meet a great devotee? He was there in Navadvip and nobody knew him. And he was living so opulently, like a king, and people fanning on both sides, and a very opulent dress, and marble furniture, and silk cushions, and, beautiful haircut. And Gadadhar, who was a very simple Brahmana, his first thought was, how can this be a great devotee? He's living so opulently. So Mukunda could understand, and he recited that sloka about how much mercy a fallen person gets or something, how Putan even got. And when Pundarik Vijayanidhi heard that, he started crying in ecstasy, and he started jumping. He knocked over all his beautiful furniture and flower vases, and he rolling on the ground and ripping. His clothes got torn, and his jewelry fell off, and his hair got all messed up for a long time. And then Gadadhar thought, I made a mistake here, and offensive. So he thought, the only way I can counteract is take initiation from him. So he asked Lord Chaitanya, he said, good idea. So then he took initiation. Okay, so thank you for coming. And the other ones left for Hanover already by train? Yeah, because they have to switch trains. Trains don't go according to our schedule. That's one of the joys of traveling that we have to go according to their schedule, and so many times the flights are at night, and all kinds of things. Not like Narada Muni just goes. He doesn't even have to go, right? There's no travel time for him. The speed of light, it would be insignificant speed for him. He just thinks about it, just like I can think of Hanover, I can think of Tokyo, and mind is there. But for a yogi like that, the body goes along also, somehow or other, faster than an email. Just so, but we're stuck, but still we want to travel. Prabhupada put up with that and showed his transcendental position by never getting bewildered by jet lag or time changes or anything. And he spent every night giving us these books. So take advantage of the books, read the books and distribute the books. We have to read them, study them, discuss them, and then everything will be up in that. Okay, any comment or question? Got time? Yes, sir.
Maharaj, what's the easiest way to get convinced about Harinam Sankirtan?
Just do it.
What's the topmost process?
Just do it. Then we see the effect, by going out on ourselves. If we really just get absorbed in chanting, but you see the way people respond, not everybody, but we know that even they don't exhibit any kind of response, the benefit is there for them. The sound vibration is there, and everybody, will benefit unlimitedly. So, and, repeat these mantras. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. What is it? Purnasya. Yeah. It's completely spiritual. It's non-different than Krishna, and all those things. So, and Harinama, Harinama, Harinami Vikevalam. So Krishna, Lord Chaitanya convinced the Mayavadis, starting with that verse. But the main thing is just chant. Just go out and associate with people who are convinced and see how happy they are, and just hang in there. Right? How can we just do it? How can we get a taste for chanting? We'll keep chanting. The example is perfect about the jaundice disease. If anybody ever, I had it. And the sugar, somebody gave me the sugar crystal candy, and I just spit it out. I thought, this is not sugar. I thought it tasted like battery acid or something. Really. But then when the disease goes away, then you know when it tastes good. So we have disease. We have it convinced about so many other things, but if we just keep chanting, keep drinking the nectar, then Bhakti Vinod said, the liquid nectar of the holy name, then it'll come. To have faith. And be patient, especially to be patient. All right? Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Thank you very much. I'll be going to Hanover in a few hours and to Berlin on Saturday morning for another Rath Yatra. Berlin Rath Yatra is always really good. The route is really good. But Germany is a setup for Harinam. You're very fortunate. Every town has these huge, no traffic shopping areas. America, there's nothing. They tried to make an imitation one in California, but it's nothing like it. It's just a street with no cars, but it's still only, this wide. But here you just have this huge plaza everywhere, and, and somehow or other nobody stops you. In Japan, if you stop while we're chanting, within a couple minutes the police come. You have to move. Can't stand still, Somebody might watch you and then there'll be a crowd. You can't stop for very long. America, no matter where you are, the traffic is roaring past you all the time. And people are bumping because the walking path is very narrow. So very fortunate set up by Lord Nityananda, for spreading the holy name. All right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.